Hello, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Carrie. I'm a 29-year-old vegan living in Bristol in the UK. I've been vegan for about 8.5 years now, and I live with my fiance who is not vegan, but he does eat vegan at home with me. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't been to my channel before, I make content all about frugal living as a vegan in the UK. This week, I did a bit of a different video, and actually I didn't keep my grocery bill as low as it could have been this week because I went and did a bit of a mega haul at two Asian supermarkets which are local to me here in Bristol. This idea I do have to give credit to Trish for. I think she was the first in the comments to request this. So thank you, Trish, for this great idea. So I am going to take you around with me as I explore two different Asian supermarkets in Bristol, see what they've got on offer for vegans and buy the things that I'm interested in trying. And then I'm going to show you a little bit about what I do with that food, but disclaimer, I buy too much food for 1 week, so we're not going to see absolutely everything, and I did have groceries at home to be able to complement what I bought with, so I didn't buy rice if I already had it in and things like that. So I hope you find this interesting and useful. I think the first time I started using Asian supermarkets was when I used to live in Brixton, and there was a really, really good one in Brixton Village. And if you are ever in the Brixton area, I'd really recommend you go and just have a look around Brixton markets in the village because there are some really great shops there. But there was a particular one whose name I forget that I used to go to, and I have loved going to them ever since and getting some really unique different groceries there. So without further ado, let's have a look around the shops and see what I buy and what I make. The first place we went to was a Asian supermarket called Yi Hong, and this is in Eastgate in Bristol. So the first thing when you walk in are lots of offers with big yellow tags, and then you look through the fridges. They had 10% off all of their mushrooms fresh. They also had a clearance section there, and they had flavoured tofu. They had lots of different types of tofu in the fridges as well, and then they had some different fruits in there, some kimchi and sweet potatoes on the other side. There was a bargain corner, which was really exciting. That had quite a few reductions on, and these were things that were either nearing best before dates or on their best before dates. They had soy milk, they had loads of different vegan fish sauce and oyster sauce and stuff like that, as well as obviously a multitude of stir fry sauces and that sort of thing. There seemed to be lots and lots of fermented bean curd in this supermarket, as well as the dried gluten. Then there was a vegetarian and vegan specific freezer, which was really exciting. And they had a lot of different things in there, but you did have to be careful because it's obviously a vegetarian freezer as well. So some of them had eggs in, but then they had loads of mochis, and these mochi ice dreams, all of those were vegan, whereas the other brand, only some of them were. Lots of dried bean curd on the shelves, preserved vegetables, there were beans, there were these mock meats in cans, which I've tried before. It's made from seitan basically, and it's quite tasty to be honest. Then they had jackfruit, banana blossom, that sort of thing, which you can make meat substitutes with, although I would just warn you that there is little protein in those, so make sure you're getting your protein elsewhere in those meals. And then, of course, there was a massive selection of noodles, just row after row of noodles. These soba noodles were really cheap for 95p, but lots of different instant ones as well. They had specific vegan products which were on the pricier side, but for plant-based stuff was pretty good. And the second one I went to was Combini, which is a smaller supermarket. And again, as you walk in, there are deals. There were deals in the fridges. Lots of fresh noodles in this one, as well as the mushrooms again. There were some desserts in there too. They had beans in here, they had dried mushrooms, they also had a clearance section in here, which was super exciting for me to see. I love seeing these handmade stickers go on them as well. I just think there's something really novel about that, so I really liked those. And there was so much as well, so there were deals on noodles, there were deals on little soy milks, and they had some ready meals as well as some curry mixes again. And I would say in here there was probably quite a good mix to say it was such a small supermarket of different types of Asian cuisines as well. So again, lots of dried bean curd, just so much on the shelves, all different kinds. And then in the freezers, they had deep fried tofu. They had these rice balls, which look really interesting. They did have some fake meats, but honestly, they were quite expensive, I would say. Wakame, if you haven't tried this, so good. They had again the vegan fish sauces, they had gochujang, they even had vegan ice cream in these freezers, guys. So they had so many different things in here, and I did find some roasted gluten on sale, so I was very happy with that. The first shop that we went to today was Wai Yi Hong, which is in the Eastgate complex. If you are local to Bristol and know about that, it's kind of like behind the Tesco's. So we got some snacks, we got some veggies, tofu, and then a few kind of specialty items, I suppose. So I am gonna start with these mushrooms. These are enoki mushrooms. There's 100 grams of them here, and they were only 95p. I think that's really, really cheap for these, because often you can get enoki mushrooms like in a pack, and their pack is going to cost you upwards of kind of £3 or £4. So very good for 95p. On a similar vein, this bok choy, which will need to be used sooner rather than later, but it was reduced down to 35p, and there's kind of like 3 bundles of bok choy there, so that is an absolute bargain. And then we also got these purple sweet potatoes to try, which I've never tried before, so I'm quite excited for. And for both of them was 161, so they are quite expensive. That's not something that we would buy, you know, most times that we go, but to try it out, I think I'm fine with paying that. Other fresh is this tofu. Now, I'm very excited about this because it's a fresh local tofu. So there is 500 grams here, and it was made in Bristol, and this was $1.95 for the local tofu, which I thought was a really good price. We've also got, this was frozen, but we've also got this tempeh. This was £2.45. Now, I will say we went to another Asian store after this and got some more stuff, which I'll show you in a second, but it was 5p cheaper in there. So we should have waited, but we just didn't know the prices, and 5p isn't the end of the world at the end of the day, is it? But there we go. Next, I got this vegan sliced kimchi. You can obviously get big jars of this, but this was obviously cheaper, being smaller. It's 150 grams, clearly marked vegan, and this was $1.95, which is a pretty good price for kimchi, particularly it being fresh. Okay, I'm going to show you some of the snacky bits we got now. So we got these skewers, a spicy flavour plant-based meat. We did check the ingredients as well, because obviously it doesn't say vegan meat, it says plant-based. And then we also got, for the snacky bits, this kind of vegetarian, it is vegan as well, it's like a beef steak, and this is like dried pieces of it as well. This obviously, this one has a marinade, this one I think is dry. They were both 95p. And then my fiance wanted to try these, which are kind of like a chili konjac snack. Along the same vein, konjac is they use it as a alternative on like keto diets and stuff, for it's like really low calorie, but it is sort of a carb, like a low carb. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's a chili version of that. That was 95p as well. Did get a couple of bargains. So first thing is the sesame chili sauce, which says clearly there that it's suitable for vegans, and this was past its best before date, which was only the 11th of this month, and we're now on the 20 something, so it's only a few days out of date, which is absolutely fine by me. And this was 50p. Also got this pack of 3 miso tofu soup. Now, with miso soup, you've got to be careful because quite often there is fish in it, but this one specifically says vegetarian miso soup. I did check the ingredients as well, and there's no fish, but yes, always worth noting that these can have fish, so make sure you look for one which does state that it's vegetarian. So 95p for 3 portions of that, which I thought was really good. Next were these soba noodles. There's 300 grams here and 4 bundles. These were only 95p, which I think is such a good price. And soba noodles are wheat flour and buckwheat, and then just water and salt. So looking forward to those. Very good price. Next, I got this big thing of banana blossom. This was on offer actually, and it was $1.95 for 540 grams, and there are slices in here. So I have some plans for this banana blossom. I've had it as a fish substitute before out at restaurants and stuff, and really liked it, so I'm excited to try my hand at doing that myself. And then same vein, I also got this young green jackfruit, which was 565 grams, and this was £1.75. Next, I got these pack of dried seaweed. I absolutely love snacking on seaweed, and this was £1.35, and I also think I'll use some of this with banana blossom to make kind of a fish substitute vibe. Next was this, which is a cabbage noodle mushroom kind of pack. It's preserved vegetables, it's braised cabbage and noodle mushrooms with chili. So thought we'd give these a go, and this was only 45p. Next, I was super excited to see this. I've never seen this before. It's called Absolute Plant Vegan Crab Roll, and it clearly says vegan on it multiple places. It's from Thailand, it says, and this was £2.30, which has 8 pieces in there, so I'm very excited to try this. And it's made out of jackfruit and a little bit of bean curd and vital wheat gluten, so it's a mix of lots of different things. Next were these mini steam buns, veggie barbecue. Again, did check, and these were vegan. There was a freezer section for vegetarian and vegan stuff, so you just had to check and make sure things you were picking up obviously were vegan. And these were £2.50. And that is everything that we got from here. There were a few packets of noodles that my fiance got, which weren't vegan, so I'm not going to include them here, but he'll take them to work and eat them there. So we won't be eating them in the house. And overall, this came to £30.32. Okay, and the second shop we went to was Combini, which was one of the shops that I actually went to on my January low budget challenge. And we got a few things here and spent £19.65. So the first thing that we got was this vegan fish sauce. This was £2.39 for 200 mils, and I will be using this to help marinate the banana blossom I have, but also a lot of Asian recipes call for fish sauce, so having a vegan fish sauce on hand I think is just going to be really handy anyway. The next thing I got was this green pepper, and this is going to have to be used fairly soon. It is fine, but you can tell that it's sort of like on the verge of turning, and this was half price, so it was only 35p. The next thing I got were these mushroom tops, which are king oyster mushrooms, and these were $1.99, which I think is a very good price for oyster mushrooms. So I was happy with that. Next, I got these dumplings. These are the best dumplings in the world. I'm telling you, like, no dumpling can compare to these. I love them so much. I've been buying these for years from various Asian supermarkets, and it's the chives and mushroom flavour, and they are just absolutely delicious by Fresh Asia. I'm so excited to eat some of these, to be honest. Next is this tin, and it's plant-based Taiwanese braised pork, which is, it says vegetarian mincemeat on the top, but then it says plant-based Taiwanese braised pork, and it is made from soy protein, pickled cucumber, shiitake mushroom, fermented soybean curd, and then seasonings, lots of seasonings. So if you don't like a lot of ingredients in your food, then this isn't for you, because this is quite processed with lots and lots of ingredients. But I'm excited to try it, and that was only £1.79, which I thought was very good. The next thing I got was this paneer tofu and cubes of vegan style paneer cooked in a creamy tomato sauce. I've seen this in Tesco's before as well, but just never tried it. It was £2.99, which I know isn't the best price you can get for it. I've seen it on offer in Tesco for like £1 something, but this is where we were. We wanted to try it. I think like that's still fine for this sort of meal. Next, I got this tempura batter mix, which is suitable for vegans. And again, I'm thinking of the banana blossom with the fish sauce and the seaweed to make kind of a battered fish alternative, but also this is great for veggies, and potentially could do some tempura mushrooms with this as well. But I just thought it was really versatile, so I picked that up. Next were these noodles. Now, the noodles were on offer. There was a promo for buy one, get one free. So we got 2 of these spicy chicken shim ramyun. Looking at the ingredients, they are vegan, and it's just a may contain thing because they use textured vegetable protein in here for like the meat. But these will be consumed by my fiance anyway when he's at work. So, I don't take my word for it. Always check your own ingredients. These don't explicitly say vegan on them. So it looks to me like the ingredients are vegan, but buy them at your own risk, obviously. And then next are these Korean style ones. These were stir-fried black bean flavor. Again, very excited for these. Again, they don't explicitly say vegan on it, but I can't see anything in the ingredients that would suggest that they're not vegan. So the Shin Ramyun ended up being 60p each, and these Korean black bean flavor ones ended up being 55p each. And then finally, you would have seen that I saw this roasted gluten at the other Asian supermarket as well, but this was on offer for £2.38 because it was past the best before date. So this is essentially just seitan, like prepared seitan. So excited for that. That was everything, and I spent £19.65. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to make is a mushroom tofu soba noodle. And I have got some tofu, enoki mushrooms, bok choy. I've got these king oyster mushrooms, and I just had a little shallot left in the fridge, so I'm going to be using that. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get this tofu sort of sorted. So it comes in some plastic as well as this tub. Now this tofu is fresh local tofu, so it does need to be used quicker than if we were using like a vacuum packed one. So I'm gonna take, say maybe this much tofu. That might be too much. Let's do that, shall we? See how we go, and then I might take some more. So there's 500 grams of tofu. 98 grams. Would you look at that? Perfect. Okay. So I haven't pressed this. It does feel quite firm, but I'm just going to do like a very speed press sort of thing. I am just too impatient and kind of lazy to press tofu properly most of the time, but this is just going to get some of that water out. Okay, and then I'm just gonna cut it into little chunks. And this is what I'm gonna top my noodles with. Okay, so that's the tofu cut up, and I'm also gonna add some gyozas and then air fry them. So first things first is I'll get the tofu into here. I said it in my haul, but these are just the best by far. Ooh, in front of there. These are so good. You like don't even know how good these are. So just gonna add 4. Maybe I'll add 5. I just love these. I could just eat a whole plate of them. Okay, and then I am gonna add some garlic to everything, as well as some chili flakes. And I'm gonna put these into air fry for 15 minutes to begin with. Now that's air frying, I'm just gonna prepare my veg. Okay, that's my little shallot cut up there. Next, I'll take some of this bok choy and then a chop. It's up to you if you want to cook this like whole or if you want it chopped like me. I kind of vary, but I fancy it like this today. Half of these enoki mushrooms. It's 100 grams in here. And then I'm probably just gonna half them like that. Finally, I'm just gonna take maybe this one. Okay, and then I'm just gonna fry that all together. So everything is in now. I've added some sesame oil, and the plan is to just fry this for a couple of minutes before I add in my broth and the noodles to cook all in together. So very much like a one pot meal if you don't count what's going on in the air fryer at the moment. Now that's fried, I'm gonna add in some water from the kettle. They come in bundles, so I'm just going to use one bundle. Come like this. And I'm going to add in this chicken stock cube. So I'm going to add the noodles to a bowl. You can see there is broth, but because I've done the noodles cooking in there with it, it's not a thin broth, it's quite thick. Because it's got the starch from the noodles, which has thickened it for me. And then my tofu and dumplings are cooked, so I'm just going to pour them into. This is what it ended up looking like. So the noodles are underneath, and then the gyozas and the tofu is on top. Next, I'm giving you a break from noodles to make some vegan fish and chips. So I took the banana blossom and then I had this to marinate it. So lemon juice, parsley, onion, garlic, vegan fish sauce and some seaweed. And then put that all in this box to marinate. And I let that marinate all day, so about 8 hours. And when it came time to cook, I peeled and chopped this, I think it's a Japanese purple sweet potato, into little chips, and then I soaked these in water and let them sit before I dried them before frying them off. And then I'm just making a batter for my fish, so I've taken some cold water and the tempura mix, as well as some black pepper, some onion, garlic and paprika, and given that all a stir. Set that to the side, and that's what I'm going to dip this banana blossom in before I fry it. So I just started by shallow frying the sweet potato fries, and I did these until they were golden and crispy. You could really tell when they looked like chips and were ready to come out. And then I went in with the banana blossom. So I coated this in tempura batter and then I shallow fried these, and the tin actually made 3, so I had some leftovers, and again just till this was kind of done. Now it is tempura batter, so it doesn't go as golden, but this was delicious. I would definitely make this again. Just making something very, very basic for dinner, which are these black bean ramen noodles, and we're just going to level them up a bit by doing some fried tofu with green pepper to kind of top it with, and maybe put some bok choy in there, not sure yet. So if you are running low on time, like I always seem to be, or just forget to press the tofu, this is what I do. To do like a little bit of a speed press, but it does crumble a little bit, so you've got to be careful. So I just went in and seasoned with some pepper, with some paprika, and with some garlic. I then chopped my green pepper before I took my bok choy and I cut this into strips. I fried the green pepper and the bok choy, used the packet directions for the black bean noodles, and added the tofu. It was so yummy. Actually turned out so well. I'm making myself a packed sandwich to go on the coach with because I'm off to London for my friend's 30th today. So I'm doing a bit of a banh mi situation, but obviously not the right kind of roll. But I've got vegan mayo on either side of this soft white roll. And then I put some kimchi, and I have air fried some tempeh, which is gonna make up the filling. And I've also got 2 little packets of seaweed to take with me as well. So this is what it looks like. We've got a bacon salt seasoning, so I put that on the tempeh. Probably overcooked it, but I do really like it crispy. And then I'm just going to close this up. This is what it looks like. Kimchi on the bottom, tempeh on top. These are the fried gluten chunks, so I have just soaked them in water for 2 hours and left them in the fridge so they are spongy. And then the plan is to use this chili sesame sauce with some soba noodles. The first thing I wanted to do was add some flavour to the fried gluten, so I used this knocked beef stock cube. I added the gluten in and cooked these for about 10 minutes. I put that to the side and cooked some frozen stir-fry veggies. I then cooked up my noodles, as well as adding soy sauce and some seasoning to my veggies while they cooked. I then added my gluten to a pan with the sauce and added the noodles into the veggies. This meal was fine, it was filling, but it was definitely not anything to write home about, and I didn't love the gluten. Next is just the tofu paneer ready meal. My fiance had this while I was away. As you can see, he's doing a bit of zooming there, but he said this was really delicious and he'd get it again. My final meal I make all the time, and I was hungover, it's my comfort food, so I made a mushroom satay ramen. So I chopped up the remaining mushrooms I had, added it to a pan with some noodles, veggie stock, peanut butter, soy sauce, sesame oil, garlic, and gave it all a really good mix. I also added some nutritional yeast in there while I air fried some tempeh and some of those gyozas. So that is everything that I made this week with some of those groceries that I got from the store. Everything was really tasty. I particularly liked the Korean black bean instant noodles that we tried. Obviously, we had a lot of noodle dishes this week, but I love noodles, as does my fiance. He actually has them most days for lunch at work. So I think this week really suited him actually. But we do have a plethora still in the cupboard of different things that we can carry on trying. So if you don't follow me on Instagram already, I'd really recommend you go and give me a follow there. It's at Frugal Vegan UK, and I will do some stories and potentially a couple of grid posts as well about other things that we try that didn't make it into this video. I have to say, I'm also really proud of myself for doing the banana blossom fish. It's something that I've had at restaurants before that I've really, really enjoyed and always been a bit too scared to attempt myself. And the great thing about doing these videos is that it just pushes me to try new things and to be a bit braver. And actually, it turned out super well. I absolutely loved it, and I'll definitely be making it again now that I know that it's not a scary, difficult thing to do. So if you feel inspired by this video at all and you think, oh, like I'm a bit scared to try that, just give it a go. Honestly, just give it a go. And I think you'll be surprised at how much you can actually achieve when you just let go of those worries. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. Leave a comment, and if you're not already, do subscribe to my channel. I make new videos every Thursday, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye!